Hello everyone, I'm Dina Baer, and I am ready to bring you everything you need to know from this year's virtual meeting. The next few days will be filled with all of the latest in genetics and genomics, but this time we aren't all in one city. It's all taking place virtually. Stay tuned to catch a glimpse of everything happening during this year's virtual meeting. First though, we had a chance to sit down with the chair of the ASHG Diversity and Inclusion Task Force to learn why it's important for the society to focus on diversity and inclusion. Dana Crawford joins me now, ASHG's Chief of Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. Why is it important that we focus on diversity and inclusion in genetics and genomics specifically?
Diversity is key, not just to ASHG's mission, but really key to excellence in research and education worldwide. So currently, our biomedical diversity workforce is not that diverse. Just as an example to illustrate this, in the US Census, the latest statistics, approximately 13% of respondents self-identified as African American or Black, approximately 18% self-identified as Hispanic. But when we look at our science faculty and academics, say at schools of medicine, the basic sciences, we see that approximately 6.8% might self-identify as a member of an underrepresented group. An even more extreme example would be for women as faculty members in academics. Of course, women make up about half of the world's population, but only 35% of the faculty at schools of medicine and basic sciences. So clearly, we don't have the diversity in academics as represented in our populations. And that's a problem because social science data shows that as we bring more diverse individuals into groups working on problems, more creative solutions are achieved. So really, we argue that the best science that we need is bringing together people from diverse backgrounds.
What is the ASHG doing to help diversity and inclusion within the society?
I think ASHG is doing a lot, whether its membership realizes it or not. So I'm here speaking with you today because I'm chair of the new Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. ASHG initiated the task force with the last meeting in Houston in 2019, and we began work in 2020. We have a 2-year order from the board to initiate the task force and accomplish certain goals. First and foremost, the board wanted task force members to be embedded within each of the ASHG committees, and we wanted to report back to the board that we can actually achieve in the next 2 years, as well as longer terms to achieve diversity, both in the workforce, but also in education and policy. And so what are some of the specific things that we've done as the task force? We've only been together for less than a year now, and already we've published a diversity and inclusion policy for ASHG, so you might have caught that. That was published earlier in January of 2020. And if you haven't caught it, you should go back to the ASHG website. We have our policy published there. We have other activities to engage membership. So we have established reduced rates from members who are coming from developing countries. We also have year-round programming that addresses many issues related to diversity and inclusion. These could be webinars on implicit bias, or webinars on career development, such as mentoring or being mentored. We have specific programs related to supporting early career scientists that we're very proud of. This is the Human Genomics or Genetic Scholars Initiative. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it's not just limited to members of ASHG or ASHG attendees. We are trying to also engage students earlier in their career process. So ASHG is now exhibiting, along with the American College of Medical Genetics and the National Society of Genetics Counselors. We're exhibiting together as a group to engage undergraduate students early in their career process to begin thinking about careers in genetics and genomics in research. So this represents the first time that ASHG really has begun outreach efforts earlier in the career process to engage more diverse groups to begin thinking about careers in science.
And what are some resources members can use to ensure they're approaching diversity and inclusion the right way?
If you're a member or a non-member of ASHG and you're wondering where I can find resources and where I can access these resources, I have a couple suggestions. First and foremost, whether you're a member or not, you can go to the ASHG website and look at some of the diversity and inclusion activities that we have initiated and are ongoing. So, for example, if you're a postdoc and you're interested in applying for the Human Genetic Scholars Initiative, please visit the website for deadlines and instructions on how to apply. Or if you're interested in some mentoring tips or how you should engage with your mentor, we certainly have year-long programming at ASHG regularly posted on the website and emails for the membership that announce webinars that address some of these issues. I would also like to encourage you at your individual institutions to encourage all of you, including department chairs or other leadership that would be engaged in hiring faculty, to attend our receptions in diversity, as well as the ASHG Diversity Breakfast for more engagement about equity and inclusion and diversity in hiring practices.
Why are you a member of the ASHG? Everyone has their own reasons, but we all certainly understand the value an ASHG membership has. Let's take a moment to look at what it's like being a member of the ASHG.
I find a lot of value in ASHG. I find the annual meeting to be really a large, exciting, engaging environment where I can meet with new researchers, I can start new collaborations and start on new projects. I've worked on a new paper now with a collaborator. I met at a poster session. I'm doing sequencing. These are individuals that would have been hard to meet and really get to talk to, have a coffee with if I wasn't going to the annual meeting. And I find a lot of value being at the annual meeting. I also participate in a lot of the year-round activities. I do the DNA Day, which gives me a chance to really do some educational outreach, which I'm really passionate about. And I also follow their online newsletters that kind of keep me up to date on some of the latest genetics policies that are up on Capitol Hill in DC. I'm also very passionate about how we use our genetic information, and I find that ASHG is at the forefront of providing a voice to the community. So that to me brings a lot of important activities, a lot of important information to me that's not just at the annual meeting, that I find to be very helpful and very valuable as someone that is a geneticist, human geneticist, someone that's really interested in making sure that genetics is an integral part of everyone else's society and in the community.
Even though we're in the midst of a global pandemic, there are so many working hard to continue to further the field of genetics and genomics. Let's take a quick look at a few of those.
The invention of primary template amplification was really inspired by the desire to be able to much more accurately measure tumor heterogeneity. You know, many of the fundamental questions about tumor genomics at the population scale are still unknown. We don't know even how many mutations there are per cell and how that leads to the population complexity, and have very little insight into how these tumors evolve in the face of treatment.
Our ability to investigate and understand the changes that happen from cellular heterogeneity are critical, if not essential, for understanding pathology and human development. BioScribe will change the face of precision medicine. We will be more precise. We will have finer detail and the ability to call variants, not just on a few genes, but across the entire genome with incredible resolution that is frankly unattainable today.
We have identified more than 7,000 genomic mutations that are actually rare and exist within the Saudi population.
What we hope to achieve is to establish a database to diagnose disease precisely and choose the best therapeutic approach.
The cost of program establishment is readily offset by a reduction in the incidence of genetic diseases. Annual savings of $1 billion from healthcare costs.
Our program started in 1999. Our first students came in then, so we were one of the first graduate programs in bioinformatics in the world. We've had 180 PhD graduates over that time. We also have a master's program, and that master's program has graduated more than 200.
Our goal here at BU and in this program is to train the next generation of bioinformatics and computational biologists. Students who come to this program are outstanding, and we're turning them into transformative researchers with long-lasting impact in the field.
In addition to just the research, I think the kind of student environment is also really great. We have a lot of community, a lot of support among our fellow students in our cohorts, and a lot of support between the faculty. So I really enjoyed not only getting to do the research, but also work with great people, both professionally and personally.
One of the wonderful things about the ASHG is its focus on helping others work their way up into leadership if they're interested. We had the chance to speak with one of the members of the board to learn more about what members can do if they want to get more involved in leadership. ASHG board member Dr. Neil Hantert is with me now. Thank you for taking the time. What does leadership at ASHG look like right now?
Yeah, so leadership right now at ASHG is multifaceted in that genetics has reached several different groups and specialties. It's being used in many different arenas. And so that means that the society has to be cognizant of a broad portfolio. And leadership is also being proactive. So we are being flexible and responsive and adapted to external circumstances, things that change, the current pandemic. But it's also being prospective. So we are putting in place, leadership is putting in place things to forge the future and to lead the future and keep the society at the forefront and the cutting edge of human genetics.
And what are some of the main focus areas for leadership within ASHG?
Right, so leadership within ASHG right now is focusing in many different areas. As I said, because genetics is so broad, it's become so multifaceted, it requires us to look across the breadth of human genetics and prioritize across between policies and research and clinical aspects. But I think everything that we're doing is being guided by our strategic plan. And the main vision within our strategic plan is to ensure that people everywhere can benefit from genetics and genomics. And so the leadership is really focused on ensuring that people everywhere part is suitably done, that we are being purposefully inclusionary to all peoples and all groups, but then also ensuring that the benefits of genetics, the way in which it can transform medicine, transforms lives in a positive way, is also going to be at the forefront. And so almost all the activities that we have and have prioritized are geared at moving that vision forward for the future.
If members wanted to get more involved in leadership or work their way up to a leadership role, how can they do that?
It's a really great question as we try to understand how we can engage the membership to do more. I think one thing obviously is the committees in the society. The society has traditionally leaned upon a number of committees to do some of the work that's to be done, and that continues and that's been expanded. So as opportunities come to participate in various program committees, advocacy committees, those are opportunities for the membership to get involved, and that's a good way of working up towards leadership. But I think the other aspect is that, we can't reach the broad group of people that we want to reach, and we can't do the multifaceted work without engaging all our memberships. And that's being able to do things at the local or the regional, level, to have members who are engaged in advocacy at that level, to have members who engage, universities and industry at that level. So I think those opportunities should be coming. We're trying to get the word out, but certainly those would be really good ways to get involved in the society's activities, and that's certainly the way to sort of propel yourself forward in terms of leadership.
That's it for us today, but remember, we'll be back tomorrow with more exclusive material. And don't forget to keep up with all the latest developments and get in touch with us via the web. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again for watching, and if you'd like to watch more clips like this, go ahead and click on some of the links to my side for more exciting content from this year's ASHG virtual meeting.